It's Wednesday, October 7th, and Tropical Storm Jerry just formed out in the Atlantic. Now, even in the past couple of scans, it already looks like it's getting a bit more organized. We have quite a bit of convection at the center, so this is definitely a strengthening storm at the moment. As for the intensity that it will reach at its maximum, the models are kind of up in the air right now. We're seeing things ranging all the way from maybe a Category 3 hurricane down to just a mere Category 1. It's definitely leaning towards that Category 1 side, but with this strengthening trend, I definitely do think we will see potentially even a strong Category 1 to Category 2 hurricane at least. Now, the cone of uncertainty kind of agrees with this. It looks like it's going to peak at around Friday this week, maybe bringing some impacts to parts of the Antilles. We already have some tropical storm watches out there. As for right now, it is a 50-mile-an-hour sustained wind tropical storm, and it's kind of racing off to the west at 23 miles an hour. So actually a very quick storm. And then even it looks like it could potentially bring some impacts to Bermuda. Let's hope that doesn't happen because they were just impacted by Imelda. But luckily the models right now are kind of hugging a bit more of a eastward track. So it looks like they could dodge that. And then for the US, this is not really going to bring any impacts, maybe potentially just some high surf or swells, which is really just the usual thing that we've been getting this season. And for the future in the tropics, this is going to be Tropical Storm Jerry right here. After this, it kind of looks like it's going to be pretty quiet, actually. We are going to have a weird low pressure system kind of moving off the eastern coast of Florida, kind of traversing all the way up the eastern seaboard that could potentially bring some rain. However, that doesn't really look tropical in nature. It just looks like it's going to be a lot of rain for the eastern coast potentially this weekend. But after this and Jerry, it looks like there's really not going to be that much going on. Of course, we are still going to have a couple of tropical waves moving off the coast of Africa, potentially moving into the main development region and then the Gulf. So still wants to be aware for some potential development through October, but overall it looks like it's going to be pretty quiet. We have seen some things hinting at maybe a resurgence of the Central American gyre, potentially shooting something up or even forming something. And even towards the tail end of the model run, we kind of see maybe something near Jamaica, but this is super far out and this is just complete speculation. It's also from the GFS, which kind of likes to overcook things also. So it looks like for the first time in maybe 10 years, we go a hurricane season with no hurricane landfalls in the US. Don't want to jinx it, but it kind of looks like it could have a very high possibility of actually happening for the first time in forever. But it is still important to note that hurricane season is not over until November, and we still want to stay kind of vigilant of what's going on out here in the tropics. And for severe weather, there is not really expected to be any of it. We could potentially have quite a bit of thunderstorm activity out here in New Mexico, kind of like yesterday, and then all the way up the eastern coast as well. This is likely going to be more morning activity than this is likely going to be more afternoon activity out west, with I think the stronger storms are going to be out here in New Mexico today, actually. And it's actually going to be a very similar story to yesterday. We're going to see some clusters of some cells pop off at around the mid to early afternoon hours out here in central New Mexico, potentially a couple clustering and getting their act together. I think we could see maybe some severe wind gust from these. They don't really look like they're going to be that organized enough for hail, and the shear parameters aren't really there to see those super strong updrafts, which would support that hail risk. So maybe a couple of areas where we could see some damaging winds, but that's not super likely. I think we are definitely going to see some strong gusty winds out of these storms. They're likely going to be done by around the evening hours, not really lasting a super long time either. Kind of almost identical to yesterday's storms. They're going to be initiated by an area of convergence. It's going to be weaker though than some frontal activity on top of that, with a couple of high pressure systems bringing some more moisture and organizing shear as well. Now, moving east, it's going to be kind of that same complex that's been bringing storms out here for the past couple of days. A big cold front with maybe a couple of embedded low pressure systems, and also that big trough creating a lot of forcing, kind of creating this messy storm mode out here. But something to note is that these storms are going to be pretty much entirely in the morning, kind of stretching from last night through the morning today, and they're going to move really fast. By midday, these storms are likely going to be pretty much gone, and then we're going to start feeling those very nice fall temperatures for really kind of the first time this year right after that even by the mid-afternoon. And here's what I'm talking about right here. If you're in the Midwest Northeast, you are definitely going to be feeling like it is fall, which it should because it is October. But with the past couple of years and some super warm temperatures, this is definitely going to be a treat. We're expecting to see some mid 60s to even all the way down to the lower echelon, even the mid 40s in the coldest areas. And then, even for the areas which are normally kind of scorching, it's still going to be some pretty nice weather as well. The entire southeast and southern plains, and then even out here kind of in the southwestern desert, we're going to be seeing some cooler temperatures than normal, kind of peaking around the mid 80s today. Then for the rest of the country out west, going to likely be in that low 70s to mid 60s. So overall temperature wise and even weather wise for pretty much the entire country, it's going to be a very nice day today. Now, although our weather today isn't going to be bad at all, it's actually going to be pretty nice, and we could see a decently large ridge even build here, kind of indicating a lull in weather for at least the next couple of days. I want to take a peek at the future cast because although nothing is really going on right now, that could definitely change in a bit. So when we have that big ridge build, we could potentially see that weird low pressure system that I was talking about when we were talking about the tropics kind of form, then move up the eastern seaboard, bringing a lot of rain, even potentially just some gusty and windy weather to this entire coast. Then we're going to see our next big weather causing trough start to push eastward across the state early next week. This could potentially bring some more rounds of severe weather or just a big line of wind and rain, kind of like what we saw with this complex that's just passing off into the Atlantic right now.